Okay, it's 9 o'clock. I hope everybody who wanted to join already joined. I think we can start now. Good day, everybody. Hello and welcome from my colleague Alexander Kovac and me from Terra Technopolis, city of Osijek, Croatia.
Hello.
Nice to have you here with us today in such a great number. Also here with us from Terra are colleagues Birgit, Silvia, Ivana, Helena, Luka. Alexander will just say hi since the two of us will moderate today's training.
Hi everyone. Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay, because my camera at the moment is frozen. Okay. Yeah, glad to see you. So many of you, almost 40 participants. That's great. I hope we will have a great day today. I won't say much later.
Okay, welcome to the advanced training how to establish successful coaching and mentoring program. This training is organized within the project IaaS4 Danube region, financed by the Interreg Danube region program. Today we have very interesting lecturers with us with extensive work experience in their fields. Thank you and glad to have you with us today. And we are all looking forward to today's training. Hope it will be useful, concise, and interesting for all of you. Our topics for today, as you can see, are Bond project, then mentoring in Terra, deep tech startups, program Spark, its history and concepts, Spark in practice, and the last topic is innovation scaling up. Just to quickly go through house rules for this training. If you didn't do it earlier, please put your name and organization now so we can later prepare participants list according to your input. Also during the training, please put your microphones on only when speaking. Otherwise, please have your microphones off during the presentations. After each presentation, there will be time for questions, but you can also write your questions in the chat. And one more thing, if I could please ask you now to briefly turn your cameras on. We would like to make a screen shot of the training's participants. After that, we can start with the presentations. My colleague Silvia will make a screenshot, so please smile now. Silvia, please check if we are ready and let us know when you're done.
Okay. It will take a bit because there are a lot of people, so just please be patient and smile just a little bit so your mouth doesn't hurt. Okay, I'm starting now. Okay, thank you. We're done.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sylvia, and thank you all. Today we have two blocks of lectures. If everything goes by plan, so around 11:45 or so, we will have 1 hour lunch break. So please try to keep to your schedule regarding the duration of the presentations. Our first lecturer is Mate Kovac from Croatian Agency for Small Business Innovation and Investment. Hello, Mate. Please, Mate, if you are ready, you can start.
Hello, Željka, and first of all, thank you for inviting me. to this coaching session. It's a pleasure to always help one of our agencies in international projects.
Thank you.
I will just try to share the screen. Can you see the presentation?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so once again, hello to everyone. I'm Mate Kovac from Hamag Bikro, the creation agency for SMEs, innovation and investment. We are the key government agency in Croatia for supporting small and medium startups through various kinds of supports like grants, loans, different guarantee schemes, and currently we have more than 10,000 registered contracts that are in implementation in different phases in our agency. So for today's let's say education and training, we prepared a presentation about a bond project. It was a pilot project that started in 2017, and now it's officially entering next month. I hope we'll sign the contract. Its third phase. It started like a pilot project, and with the initial idea to connect business support institutions throughout Croatia. So a little bit of general information about the network. The Bond network brings together 96 business support institutions from all counties of the Republic of Croatia. There are various types of organizations like accelerators, local development agencies, regional development agencies, also sectorial agencies. So we are dealing with let's say a vast number of business support institutions. The main idea, as I said, was connecting the business support institutions in one network with the idea of improving the quality of existing services that BSOs provide, and also developing new services for SMEs and entrepreneurs. And the general idea behind all these educations and the services that were developed was the standardization and the availability and the quality of services for SMEs across all of Croatia. Our goal was to ensure that the BSOs who are participating in the network are providing services to SME on the same level in each county. It was a very difficult task for us, since some of these agencies are, let's say, new. Some of them already had a lot of experience, so we had to mix the education program, the educators, also the time schedule of the educations. It was very exhausting in one time of the project for us, but at the end it turned out really great. One of the main project activities was, of course, establishing and selection of BSOs for the network, joining also relevant international organizations, strengthening the capacities of the network members, upgrading the electronic platform, and development of new services for SMEs by the BSOs. And for the first time, a mentor network was developed in Croatia, since there was previous attempts to establish some kind of local or maybe maximum regional network, but this was the first time that we have now a national network that covers all counties. And through the project, we also delivered the decentralization of our services in the way that we opened our branch office in each county of Croatia. The certification process, in some way, we wanted to certificate all of these business support institutions that are in the network, So we designed like a certification process that is annually. The business support institutions have to deliver certain type of services to SME. They have to do it in a certain way, using certain forms in communication. And the idea was not to certificate the quality of this process, because it would be very let's say subjective from our side, and depending on the individual perspective of each SME. So we focused more on the quantitative effects of the certification, and the number of SMEs that were using the service, and did they receive or the service in the, let's say, proposed way that was developed through the project. So a lot of these BSOs were in the end were certified from the first level of the certificate to the 5th level. This was also we made this graduation in the certification process to, let's say, help those who are on the first level, that they can, if they improve the quality of their services that they offer to SMEs, if they introduce new services, they can receive a certificate of higher level. In that way, SMEs know that this specific BSO is investing both time and money in adapting its daily business with the SME, so he knows that the quality of the services, let's say, in a raise in some way. We did this certification process annually, and the recertification is every 2 years. Criteria for certification, as I said, was workshops with entrepreneurs. It was a ponder of 70%, and the rest of the certification criteria was individual entrepreneurship consulting that had a ponder about 30%. So we are moving on. The idea of this network was to, after we established the network, after we established the first educations, and really the communication between BSOs started in this process, because before that, the majority of them were not even aware who is doing what in Croatia. And let's say this was the biggest effect of the project, because a lot of these BSOs started to communicate among themselves, exchange experience and knowledge about different projects, ideas that they have. So this was in my perspective, let's say, the biggest benefit of the project. After this initial phase, we started to let's say move forward, and we became members of EBN, the European Business Innovation Center Network, a network of different type of SME support institutions, including also national institutions. And we participate in different trainings and annual congress, because the EBN has a well-developed certification process that we want to maybe move on in the next phase of this bond network, because they are really assessing the quality of the service. In the first 2 phases of the project, we established all the, let's say, mechanisms to develop the different service, all the right forms. We have a lot of members that are of the network who are using this process, but now we will focus more on the quality, and we here hope that EBN will be big benefit for the whole network, because they have a vast number of members throughout Europe that are really good. Some of the best BSOs in Europe are part of this network, and we are hoping to have some job shadowing activities for employees of Croatian BSOs going in different countries and learning directly from their colleagues in their BSOs. And about the mentorship network, I will say more in the later phase. But as I said, this was the first national mentoring network in Croatia, initially implemented through the Bond 2 project. In this financial perspective, it will be implemented as an independent project. Through the project, we developed a digital platform. It was actually developed by the very end of the project, so it will be it was fully functional. Let's say the last couple of months. So the real testing of the platform will be in this third phase of the project that is starting next month. Through the platform, unfortunately, I do not have the possibility to log in some reason, because I tried several times before the presentation. Something is just wrong, but I will briefly explain. The digital platform has several modules inside of it. Some of them are for the certification process, in which the BSOs can report directly all the reporting documents that they have. We also have modules for business transfer. If you have a company, you can enter data inside and let's say advertise that you're selling or buying a company. And we also have a module for the mentoring process that will be very highlighted in the next phase, through which mentors and SMEs, after they register on the platform, can connect directly and arrange a meeting also through this platform. And they will the SMEs will have the possibility to give, like let's say rating for the mentor. So it will be also a good feedback for us on the quality of each specific mentor. As I said already, for the mentoring process, we developed a public call to select the mentors in the network, and we had different requirements that they needed to fill out. Some of them were, of course, administrative requirements regarding education and experience. And also we had two type of mentors. It's very important to specify this. We have advisory mentors and also business development mentors. And these advisory mentors, the idea for them was that they provide mentoring process for someone who is just starting their business, who has basic needs, let's say, in the company. And the business development mentor was already for more mature projects and ideas inside of each company. They could use the knowledge of specific mentor for developing some specific business process inside the company. This is the main let's say segregation between these two types of mentors. Qualitative criteria, we also evaluated the mentors when they applied for the call regarding their work experience, experience in each selected economic sector that they said they have knowledge. International business experience also was evaluated, and experience and readiness to work with entrepreneurs in this process. So regarding the qualitative criteria, the business development mentor, he also had to provide very similar proof like the advisory mentor in order to be part of the mentor network. We have more than 200 mentors in the network. Approximately 300 applied, but 200 passed the evaluation process, and we're part of the mentoring network. It's a lot of data for you now to see in the presentation, but this is really a process that we delivered in 8 months from delivering the public call for mentoring, and after that the mentoring process started, and we had to finish it by the end of 2023. This mentoring network I will say more in the next slides, will continue, I hope, by the end of this year. So moving on regarding the implementation process. So the user selects their first, second, and third choice for the mentoring process, and the availability of the mentor is checked, and the PPI in the first phase of this process contacts the mentor according to priority and checks their availability for mentoring. After that, the business support institution confirms the availability of the requested mentor and connects the user with the mentor. The user also then mentor arrange independently a meeting schedule during each meeting session. After the final mentoring session, the mentor submit the mentoring form with the consultation with the business support institution. This seems like a long process, but in the third phase, this will be, let's say, cut down this process, because we will have the mentoring platform, so they can communicate directly and arrange meetings more quicker than now, more quicker than this pilot phase. The rights and obligations of each mentor in the network. The duration of one mentoring session was 60 minutes. Mentoring session can take place either in person or online, depending on where the location of the mentor and the SME. During the mentoring process, a mentor can conduct a minimum of 1 and maximum of 3 mentoring sessions with a single user. A mentor can conduct also a maximum of 99 mentoring sessions per year with an unlimited number of users. Also, a mentor can mentor up to 3 users simultaneously, but collaboration with each user is conducted individually. We put this kind of let's say restraints in the call, because if the mentor was mentoring more than 3 users at the same time, we didn't feel like it will be a good process, and we were not sure of the quality of the mentoring in this case. So we put this limitation up to 3, so that he can focus more on the quality of each mentoring session for each end user, meaning SME. The annual rates that were paid to the mentors were 50 euros for advisory mentors per hour, and the business development mentor had the rate of 90 euros per hour. Evaluation and performance indicators for this mentoring process. The evaluation forms were designed in questions for qualitative and quantitative assessment of the mentor's satisfactions. Feedback was collected after every 5 mentoring sessions, and based on the evaluation results, it was proposed to continue or terminate the mentoring. If the mentor sees there's no need for his services, then the training session and mentoring process was stopped. Also, if some kind of negative feedback about the user, the mentoring team informs the user, if necessary, contacts the mentor and decides will it withdraw from further mentoring support. In that case, the mentoring team makes a decision about the replacement, and the mentoring team also arranges a new mentor for the process. Moving on. Sorry. Seems that the presentation froze. Sorry, I'll try to move it. Okay. Regarding the the new call for mentors, as I said, this previous call was a pilot project in which we tested different kind of mentors, different kind of mentoring processes, and the evaluation of from 5 to 15 hours of mentoring process. But in the new financial perspective, we will divide this mentoring process from the bond project, since we since we will receive a higher allocation for this process than was before, because before we had like about 500,000 euros. Now we will have more than 3 million euros for this process, and Hamag Bikro will already design the project, and we are hoping that the restricted call for this mentoring process will be announced in October of this year, so we can start again with the mentoring process, because there's a lot of interest both from mentors to be part of the network, and also a lot of SMEs are looking for direct mentoring support and want to be part of this this network. Again, Hamag Bikro will be leading this process, and a lot of emphasis in the new mentoring project will be on the digital platform through the mentoring process will be carried on. About this new project, the aim is to ensure the ongoing provision of mentoring services to small and medium enterprises, focusing on knowledge transfer, mindset development, experience sharing, and future networking. Also, in the new project, a lot of services will be particularly directed toward thematic priorities of our national S3 strategies, such as personal healthcare, smart and clean energy, green transport, digital products, and platforms. Since in the first phase, the service that was delivered through the mentoring process was like a pilot project. The SMEs did not receive any kind of official support, but now in the new project, this process will be considered as a state aid, and in that case we will issue a de minimis certificate for those SMEs that are part of the mentoring network. This is a big difference from the pilot phase. Main project activities: updating and expanding the mentor database, also provision of mentoring services, because we have to first again issue and announce the public call for mentors. We have to, let's say, refresh the mentoring network. Some of these mentors maybe not be now are not maybe interested to be a further part of the network, and some of others will some of new mentors will join the network. So we definitely need a new call for mentors. We also have typical horizontal activities like promotion and visibility, and also project management. Regarding the budget, as I said, the majority activities will be focused on the mentoring process. It's about 2.8 million, and we also have a budget for promotion and visibility and a small project management budget, because this will be a 4-year project. Some statistics now for the end regarding the bond network. Currently in the network we have 99 BSOs, business support institutions, that are participating, and during the pilot phase of the project, they carried out more than 600 mentored SMEs in this project. It took more than 5,000 hours of mentoring to carry out deliver the mentoring process to the end in this piloting phase. So we really had a lot of experience, a lot of information from the SMEs regarding how to maybe how the process could be more successful, and what maybe changes are needed to be done to improve the whole process. Regarding the let's say structure of the BSOs in the network, as you can see here in the pie chart, the majority of them are local development agencies, and we also have tech parks inside, several tech parks, regional development agencies, business accelerators. So it's a very heterogeneous network of participants. And here are some of the examples of the successful mentoring in Croatia. For example, Zitzer was part of also this network, and majority of their participants were very satisfied with the pitch, and actually one startup, Metabelli from Split, using this business model validation that was developed by the help of the mentor, found a client within 6 months of this finishing of these activities, which resulted in decrease of its revenue by 150%. So this is a real statistic data that shows that it's not necessary always to receive a financial support if you want to upgrade and grow your business. Sometimes you just need the right mentoring support to maybe develop a specific niche inside your business. Sorry, presentation is froze again. I hope I'm at the very end. Sorry. And I just wanted to say for the end that these success stories demonstrate how structured mentorship program in Croatia really gives the opportunity for especially micro and small SMEs to accelerate their business. In one way, we also support the SME modernization because some of the mentors were very experienced in the international business affairs, and they connected them with new buyers. So it's a really ongoing process the whole time that the mentoring is in implementation. So there's a lot of benefits for SMEs. And also after the mentoring process, the SMEs have the opportunity to attract funding and find international business opportunities for themselves. So it was a very long presentation from my side. I hope you were able to see the biggest benefits of the network and the mentoring processes, since it was a pilot, and from our view it was a very successful pilot. So thank you for your attention. So if you have any questions or comments regarding the network, some specific part of the mentoring process, I'm here for any question. So feel free to ask.
Thank you so much, Mate, for your very insightful and very interesting presentation. Are there any comments, any questions? Now is the time. Okay, Mate is available. He left his contact, so yeah. If you have any further questions, you can also ask him later. Yeah.
Excuse me, everyone. I think it might be valuable to address one point. First of all, thank you, Mate, for a wonderful presentation and the proactive role that Hamag Bicro takes in Croatia. So as you mentioned, through your mentoring platform, there's a lot of knowledge that is collected from both users and mentors, right? You get some feedback from them. How is your organization using this feedback to further improve the platform, to do the right decisions, to make the right decisions, to act better? I think it's very important to all of us who are into coaching and mentoring.
Yeah, actually, as I said, this platform will have its full use in this third phase because it was delivered by the very end of the bond process. So we will know this, let's say, in a half a year, maybe 1 year. We'll have information from SMEs, but all of the information that we receive either from the SMEs or from the mentors is very valuable for us because it will help us in designing the new call, because we will maybe rethink of some criteria that we had for mentors. Are they good? Maybe they need to be changed based on follow-up information from both SMEs and mentors. So this, let's say, some kind of consultation process really helps us to improve the new call for mentors. And I hope when we enter the new project phase that this platform will be very useful. So because we also have the possibility to make not only small but bigger changes in the platform, maybe introduce a new model or refresh one of the existing. So it has to be a two-way process in definitely for this mentoring process. This was the this was, let's say, the point that was really emphasized to us from each of the international colleagues that we consulted before developing the mentoring network. The feedback is crucial in this process. Yes. About the mentoring and the mentor itself, whether he's providing the service or the mentoring session in the right way. Does the SME really feel the benefit of the process? So
yes,
yeah, in majority it was very successful. We only, from these 200 mentors that were part of the network, I think we only had less than 10 negative recensions. So it was very helpful, because there's nothing before was existing in this type of process.
Okay, thank you. I understand it might be too early to ask, but do you have for us some trick of the trade, something that you, through your experience, learned? Like, no names necessary, just, like, oh, this was good or this was not good, what we did.
Yeah, maybe regarding the evaluation, I think we maybe administratively burdened the whole process. This is a typical trap for something that is new. You want to, let's say, keep track of each step, be involved in process, but it's after the project ends, we some kind of, let's say, realize that maybe there's no need for too much reporting, evaluating every 5 hours the whole process. If the SME is happy with his mentor, they will continue with the network or without the network.
Yes.
The idea is to finance the first couple of sessions, so they kick off in some way.
Yeah.
And if he really wants to use his knowledge of the mentor, he will pay regarding the total amount of cost, because he needs this knowledge to develop this business idea. So we will try to make less administrative obligations for mentors when they're applying for the network, and also we will try to simplify as maximum as possible for the SME when they log on to the network and find mentors. This will be the most emphasized thing. Yeah.
Great. Basically, you're using social platform dynamics to filter good mentors and good users, right?
Yeah, and also just one sentence. a big support for this process in the first phase were, of course, BSOs, because they were on the business support institutions. They were motivating both mentors and SMEs to have some courage and enter the network for the first time. Yeah.
Thank you, and good luck with moving towards qualitative certification. That's I believe immensely important.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you
If
once
there are
again.
any more questions, sorry if I
Yeah.
triggered maybe another thought or something.
Okay. Thank you, Mate, once again.
Thank you.
We will go with the next topic with our expert associate, Ivana Geto. The topic is successful mentoring in Terra Technopolis. Ivana, if you're ready, you can start, please.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Ivana
Hi.
Get, and today I will be representing Terra Technopolis. Let's just try to share the screen first. Okay. Does this functions?
Yes.
Yeah, it works. Perfect. So yeah, hi once again. We will talk a bit more about successful mentoring in Terra Technopolis. We will start first with a recap of Terra activities and our services, because this is the part that we are actually offering to our mentees in this later parts of the mentoring process. So as some of you know, Terra was...
Sorry, just click on present, so it's on the full screen.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's presenting.
And we can see the bottom text. So just present the.
But it was on presenting. Is it now better?
No.
Let's try one more time. Maybe this.
Nope. We can still see the slides on the side.
Yeah, I tried to kind of press the present button like a few different times. Would this be helpful?
Nope. Still looks the same.
Okay, then just give me a moment of two to try to kind of do this.
Perhaps we can even see it in a slide mode. And
yeah, I think our colleague here from the IT support will try to help. So just navigate us if everything works. So yeah, how's the situation now?
well, I can see it. We see the GUI too, but do you agree that we go this way?
Yeah, because I mean, on my screen, I can see just the regular presentation without the screens on the side. Yeah, for some reason, I'm not sure why is it in that way for you, but if you are okay with it, we can maybe...
Yes, we can go like this. Okay.
If something is unclear, we will stop you. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay. So... Yeah, sure. So we will talking about successful mentoring in Terra and how we are going to do a quick recap of Terra activities. So Terra was registered in 2002. It's a limited liability company. So basically, we are supporting new technologies, innovations, and entrepreneurship. Terra was actually a result of cooperation of, we would say, major stakeholders in a region. It was the Josip Juraj Strossmayer University, the city of Osijek, and Osijek-Baranja County. So what we want to do in our organization is to connect science and economy in order to secure infrastructure, finances, and consulting for all these new ideas, innovations, and technology-based projects. You can see on the slides just part of the projects that Terra is involved with. Of course, there is Interact projects. There are some projects linked to digitalization and agriculture sectors, and this is the region where we are based in. We also do a lot of work regarding intellectual property, and we have strong focus on youth. So we do also Erasmus for young entrepreneurs. If we look and dive a bit more into Terra core activities, we could say it would be firstly one broad business consulting services and advising. It usually starts with a startup coming to our place and asking us for advices in various parts of their work, whether it be registering their companies all the way to international markets and how to enter it. All these entrepreneurs need some sort of training and education, so we also provide different types of seminars and presentations to help them with their work. EU funds are also a major part of our work. We advise and inform our clients where to find funding, how to apply to it, and which type of funding would be suitable for their business. Alongside all this, we are also a business incubator based at university, and we provide our clients with in-person incubation, but also a virtual one, since we saw that there is a need for that in this day and age. During this incubation, we really try to encourage our clients and our tenants to digitalize their business and provide them some sort of business networking, whether it be on a national level or international level through international projects. Since we are based at university, we do a lot of work regarding technology transfers. We want to make sure that all the knowledge and the new ideas that are founded at university try to reach some sort of commercial stage in the market. Some of the topics that we are really focused in would be for sure circular economy and sustainable development. Alongside all these activities, we are also trying to provide infrastructure and facilities for our clients. So we are based, as Željka said, in Osijek, actually in the really central location in our town. Since we are based at university, we are a close link to the university and the transfer of technology. Here we have office spaces, we have co-working environment and different types of meeting rooms. Basically everything that a new entrepreneur would need, and our mentees. Since we are really involved in this work with innovations, we actually set up a STEM lab where you can find all needed equipment for prototyping your ideas. And lastly, we also organized a Terra Club, which is like a meeting point for everybody who is in our incubator to kind of meet in person, exchange ideas, maybe even collaborate in some part of their work. So this would be kind of a quick recap when it comes to Terra. We also are part of certain networks and programs. For lots of them you already know. That would be Bond Network, EEN. But we have also founded, and we are actually a lead member of the Digital Innovation Hub here in Terra. And as I said in the beginning, we are trying to focus on youth. So we are really strong in this area of Erasmus for young entrepreneurs. I was mentioning this successful mentoring in Terra and all the activities that are intended for our mentees. Well, how does this mentoring happen? It comes through a competition called Build a Role Model. So Build a Role Model is a competition of the business plans. It's intended for students from the university and the high school students. So the whole idea is that they will get introduced with this idea of how to start their business by writing a extensive business plan, and then they will present their business idea in front of an expert journey. This competition, Be the Role Model, is also part of a larger exhibition called Innova Be the Role Model, which consists of 3 parts. It would be this business competition that I actually mentioned, an international exhibition of innovations, and also exhibition of the prototypes. The competition, Be the Role Model, actually served us as a great way to identify and attract young aspiring entrepreneurs into our business incubator, where we actually mentor them to develop their business further. So we'll go quickly through some steps that these competitions entails. Firstly, students meet us at the university or high schools, where we tell employees give presentation on why it's important to have a good business plan and how to write one, and we introduce them with the idea of the competition. When they say, okay, we would like to try to compete, we start by certain workshops. So Terra has a workshop where we introduce students with our e-tool for writing a business plan. So it's an e-tool that Terra developed for the needs of one project and is still in use. You can see at the slide parts of this e-tool for writing a business plan. It's basically a digital interactive form. It has instructions, it has educational material, which actually guides students step by step into writing their own business plan. It has everything that's needed from marketing, finances, projections, assets, cash flows, and so on. This financial part actually warns the entrepreneur if he made or she made some certain errors when it comes to their calculations, so they can stop and kind of rethink their projections and their finances to see if it actually makes sense. This whole process of writing a business plan is monitored by their mentor, whether it be from university or high school, but it's also monitored by us Terra employees. So our first workshop is that we introduce them to this e-tool, they start using it, and then when they come to the part of the finances, we have our second workshop by Terra, where we explain them in details what are some advices and tips and tricks or how to make, aspiring but also responsible financial plan, because in the end they really want to make their ideas work. This whole e-tool is actually available in more than one language, so you can access it in English and Hungarian, and alongside students, it's also used by Terra Technopolis clients for various purposes. And the last workshop that Terra is giving to the students who are competing in this competition, Be the Role Model, is about pitch presentations. Because at the day of the competition, our students are actually going to a stage, they have audience in front of them, and they have to pitch their idea. They have 3 minutes to do so. So in order to prepare them, we have a workshop on how to have a good presentations, how to make a good public performance, and it actually gives them not just actual knowledge, but also confidence when they reach the day of the competition to give their best. So they give their pitch, it takes 3 minutes. They are listened by the audience and the jury. The jury consists of representatives of universities, but also important business support organizations in Croatia. After they pitch, each student is asked certain questions. It's usually 3 to 5 questions just to kind of check is there any flaws in their business plan, and to kind of dive a bit more into the details. The best students for sure get some sort of medals and special prizes, but what's more important for us is, because we are working with these students for a couple of months is that they get the opportunity to be 6 months present in our business incubator to kind of further develop their idea from the business plan to the actual company. Since lots of these students are actually founders of their companies, we also provide them with a manager training program, which we believe would be really beneficial for the further professional development. We try to make them as visible as it can be and their work through the Be the Role Model newspaper. It's a newspaper that's available on local and regional level and covered by some other portals in our region. And throughout this whole process, from the first moment they apply to the competition through the end of their incubation, they have a continuous Terra Technopolis support, this that we mentioned earlier, really broad and wide business consulting support regarding any need they would have. I will just touch a bit more on this larger exhibition that I mentioned, Be the Role Model. So it consists of few parts. One of the parts would be where we have business support organizations who come to the exhibition and present their work, where all of these young entrepreneurs can actually get informations on how to get support from the Croatian business support organizations. The second part would be international exhibitions. So we have people all around the world coming to Croatia, either in Zagreb or in Osijek, to present their ideas and innovations. The third part would be university exhibition. Lots of universities come to this exhibition to present the work they did throughout the year on different types of projects, and it's a great way for broader public to kind of find out more on the work that universities do. The fourth part would be this business competition, Be the Role Model that we mentioned, and then we have the last part, which is Entrepreneurship Academy. So each year we try to see which topic would be beneficial to the entrepreneurs, and we gather all the experts in this area for a list of lectures that could be helpful for the following time when it comes to important topics. The last year the topic was sustainability, in particular sustainable fashion and sustainable textile. If we would have to talk about some reach, since Be the Role Model is organized, for more than for many years. If you look at only 2024, so the last year, this whole exhibition, the larger one, had more than 500 innovations presented. More than 20 countries applied and actually came to Croatia to present their ideas. And also more than 13 universities were involved in this whole process. The main group that you would find at Be the Role Model exhibition would be students, startups, researchers, entrepreneurs. And we have seen that this exhibition actually enables them this strong international visibility. Now, when we have to talk about these success stories, in particular, we have many of them, but for this opportunity we just pick few. So, Be the Role Model in 2002 had an entrepreneur named Benjamin Kujavec. He actually won one of the prizes for his idea. He developed this whole electric motorcycle and founded actually his company. Last year, so it was 3 years ago, last year he joined another project that Terra is participating. It's called OSA Accelerator, and he actually now became a part of our business incubator and is mentored by Terra. So we could say that we have this history starting in 2022 and continuing all the way to today, where he has his own company and developing his products further. Alongside Benjamin, we also have Lea and Vanessa. Lea and Vanessa participated at the Be the Role Model competition last year. They won the silver medal. They developed this app and also a product which helps blind people kind of move within different rooms and areas easily. And under Terra Technopolis mentorship, they actually won the first place in the competition for the best creation innovations within acceleration program. And together with Benjamin, they're also part of OSA Accelerator here in Terra Technopolis Business Incubator. So we could say that we have, this history of staying in touch with our entrepreneurs through the Be the Role Model competition, and then following them through the years, and them actually ending in our business incubator, founding their companies and continuing their work. So when we look to the future, because the next Be the Role Model competition is already under preparation, we witness that it actually promotes innovation culture and helps young entrepreneurs get needed mentoring in the right moment. It was great for us to actually find entrepreneurs in this early stage idea development, to support them and to help them develop even further. Additional note that is important for them is that it enables them international exposure, because as we said, there were more than 20 countries present at the exhibition. The topic that we will concentrate a bit more in this year exhibition will be AI and sustainability. So I invite all of you to kind of follow up on our social media. The competition starts in November, and to see how all this looks like. And thank you very much for your attention, and I will now stop the sharing. And if you have any questions, we can for sure go through them.
Thank you so much, Ivana, for your very interesting and dynamic presentation that actually fully comprised all of our business activities and all of our strives to add value to our ecosystem, and but also our strives to make us visible internationally. Thank you. Any questions, any comments? Now we have a little time for this. If not, we can go to our next topic.
If I would like to repeat, if for any reason one does not want or can talk by microphone, there is a chat. So anytime you feel the need to ask something, please use the chat too. It's your questions and opinions are very welcomed.
Very valuable and welcome. Yeah, thank you. Our next topic is our lecturer from our lecturer, Deni Nurkic, CTO, founder of deep tech venture builder Nucleus. Mr. Nurkic comes from Faculty of Electrical Engineering and Computing from the University of Zagreb. Deni, are you here with us? If you're ready, you can share your presentation, please.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you. Yes, we can see the presentation.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. So, hi everyone. As Željka said, my name is Deni. Actually, my formal place of employment is the Innovation Center Nikola Tesla, which was founded by the Faculty of Electrical Engineering. So it's an organization that's specifically devoted to technology transfer, first from the Faculty of Electrical Engineering in Zagreb, but now we are working with about 20 institutions in Croatia, providing them this assistance. My role specifically is a knowledge valorization or a tech transfer expert, and my specific field inside of that, which I spend most of my time, is mentoring researchers to create deep tech startups and spin-offs. So let's start. How many of you know of a product based on a scientific research? This is how I usually start this presentation. You have this small raise hand sign. So if you know of a product that's based on scientific research, just please click the raise hand sign so I can get an idea of how we're doing. So any product based on scientific research. Okay, we have a few hands. Any more? Okay, so from those few hands, is anybody willing to write in or say an example that they are thinking of? Feel free to put it in the chat or say it.
Sorry,
Okay.
I misspelled semiconductors.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah, sure. Semiconductors, very important one. Teflon, nylon as well. Great examples. Okay. So obviously now even you who had not raised your hand, when you see these examples, it's quite obvious that it's that products based on scientific research are quite ubiquitous, so ubiquitous that we usually don't even understand that they have been coming from that side. But even though when we think about it, we know a lot of these examples that come from scientific research. When I ask people to then specifically think about creation scientific products or technologies which were commercialized in the last 5 years, I usually get very little or no examples. I don't know if anyone here maybe has some kind of an example in the last 5 years. Maybe can you remember something scientifically, some scientific research that came out of Croatia and became a product? No? I'll leave a few more seconds. If anybody has an idea, put it in the chat. If something comes to mind, feel free to write it in, and then we'll see if it is or is not. So usually when I ask this, people mention R2 unicorns, right? Infobip Primats. They maybe mention Photomat as well, which was acquired by Google. But none of these companies really, they are all tech-based, and they all have highly specific, highly evolved tech products. But none of them did a tech transfer from a research institution, right? So they would not count as a tech transfer or a knowledge valorization story, even though they are high tech. So why is that so, right? When we started with our program Nucleus in 2021, we were trying to see what is the state of the Croatian ecosystem. And what we saw at that point is that there are all of these institutions or parts of the ecosystem that are relevant and should be there. So both the research organizations, the support organizations, the companies, the universities, the service providers, and the funding organizations. But why are they not working in sync, right? So what we saw that they are usually not connected. There are, at that time, there were basically no startup programs which were aimed specifically at researchers and research institutions with a methodology that would suit them specifically. There were no structured forms of this collaboration. So if you had a collaboration between a research institution and a company, for example, it would usually be based on some professor or someone from the company that they maybe have a connection, one-on-one personal connection, and they are now working together. And when they stop working together, there is no more collaboration between that, for example, scientific group and the company. There was very little use of institutional knowledge, meaning since there were no structured forms of collaboration, then you would not have a continuous knowledge exchange between a company and a research institution, but you would have just a sporadic interaction. And there was no clear vision or focus inside the entire ecosystem, like where are we moving and which are the forms of these collaborations and developments that would be most beneficial. And yet, even though there was none of these structured forms, we still saw that there were technological companies, highly technological companies that were coming out of Croatia, right? So as I mentioned before, we have two unicorns, Remats and Infobip, which are highly technological companies. Photomat was also built out and sold for Google, not in a unicorn status, but a centaur status, probably somewhere around $500–600 million, which is a really strong exit, especially at that stage that they were at. And there were a bunch more companies that were also high tech and were doing really well. And then when we looked at the general statistics, for example, this is from 2024, but we looked at it previously as well. So with those two unicorns, we would be somewhere between 15th and 16th place for unicorns per million people, right? Although usually because of the small sample size, we get left out of these statistics. And then if you look at the growth of the ecosystem from 2017 to the end of 2022, we had about 16 times the growth of the startup ecosystem, which was the second best rate in Europe and surrounding countries. So, and on the EU level, on the EU scale, we saw that the EU Commission has set out a large amount of money, so 50 billion euros at that point, for deep tech funding specifically, and they wanted to attract at least 50 billion more in private investment. So when we saw all of that, we were thinking, okay, these companies that we have, these tech transfers that happened, like what is the competitive advantage of Croatia or of EU that made it possible for them to compete at a global level? Our first hypothesis was, okay, we've joined the EU in 2013, so this is like a larger market available for Croatian companies. Is it that this large unobstructed market has helped Croatian companies to compete? But then when we looked at a bunch of data, we saw that like 84% of Croatian companies still say that they have problem exporting to EU, and about 55% of EU companies say the same, but there is a big gap between our companies and their companies. But obviously a lot of companies in the EU have this problem. And this is just one data point, but when we explored deeper, we saw that it's not that the EU is a large unobstructed market if you compare it to the US or, for example, Southeastern Asian countries, which are larger, like China. So this is not a global competitive advantage. So the other one we were thinking about, okay, a bunch of our companies now have access to EU grants, and there is more VC money coming in. So is there more cheap money, and that's why they are competitive. But again, grants have a really big compliance expenditure. They're also slow. And if you look at the VC investment as a percentage of BDP, it's really minuscule, especially compared to some other countries. So again, a company in the US would have a competitive advantage in this sense. So then what we were left with is technological innovation and the tech talent, because all of these companies in Croatia that were globally competitive had a product which had a technological moat, really high end, that their competition could not replicate. And in the core founding team, they had some of the best technological talent coming from the best universities in Croatia. So that's why we decided to create a nucleus as this program, which would connect research institutions, startup ecosystems, and the industry, take the best of all of those and create structures, ways of collaboration. And the model we've decided on is a venture builder. So you all know about incubators and accelerators. The difference between an incubator, accelerator, and a venture builder is that a venture builder integrates both incubation and acceleration processes, and that it tries to give its own resources, its own team members, its own services, etc., to try to build up these teams, acting as kind of an additional team member to all of these startup teams, research teams that come to us. And alongside of this venture building, we realized that we need to do ecosystem building. So that we alone will not be enough, that we need to bring stakeholders to participate together with us in this process and get as many of them on board as we possibly can. So maybe before I go into like the methodology of what we're doing and how we're mentoring, are there any questions about like this general overview? Again, if you want to write it in chat, feel free to do so. I see there is a company also somebody mentioned that's probably based on scientific research. That's great. Maybe if you have time at the end, I can look it over. But any questions maybe about this intro part? None so far? Okay. So let's talk about the methodology. So what do we do as a program, as a coaching mentoring program? We have 3 phases spanning a full year. So if you are with us as a startup research team, you for the whole 3 phases, you are with us for a full year. In the first phase, we take up about 15 teams. And we go through matchmaking, ideation, and idea validation. Then we reduce that by a third approximately, and we go into startup education and development planning. And then we take only 3 to 4 teams. This year we took 4 teams, and we do just business and product development with them at this latest stage. So let's go through all of these phases. So phase 1. We start with some methodologies that are supposed to unstuck them from their scientific thinking, right? And see what would be the market opportunities for them. So we start with a methodology called Market Opportunity Navigator, where we are trying to make them imagine all the possible application of their technologies that they have built out. Because maybe I should go one step back. So usually people who come to our program, they've already done a scientific proof of concept. So they know that something works in the lab. They're around TRL 3, let's say, somewhere around that, maybe 4. And now they want to see if this can be applicable in the industry, right, on the market. This is not an ideal process of building companies. It's far better if we are there at TRL 0, basically, and we do also the thinking out of the technology with them. But this is not the reality of the ecosystem, not here in Croatia, not wider in the EU or even the US. So usually researchers already do some research, and then they start thinking, okay, is this maybe applicable? So that's why we have built out our methodology to try to serve them at that point that they found themselves at. So when they come, we are like, okay, you have this TRL 3 or 4 research results, right? Really basic technology, but let's try to see where you can apply it, right? And that's what Market Opportunity Navigator and the design thinking workshops at the start of our programs are for. And also thinking about the potential customer for the first time and the customer experience who would use that technology. Then when we build out these hypotheses about where it could be applied, and then we do a lot of market research, right? Because these hypotheses, if they tell us this is a B2B product, it can be sold to, for example, pharmaceutical laboratories, we say, okay, fine, but then find 10 pharmaceutical laboratories, talk to them, and come back to us with their answers, right? So we can validate this hypothesis of yours. In parallel, we are talking about IP management because most of our startups need to think about IP strategy. Maybe they will not take out a patent. Patents are not always the best idea, but they need to think about what is the proper way to use their intellectual property while building out their startup. We tell them everything about the startup world. Usually when they come to us, they have no idea of what even the simplest startup terms mean. So we need to ensure that we are all speaking the same language. And then a big part of our first phase is to trying to teach them how to present in a non-scientific way. So we do a lot of verbal and non-verbal communication, and we do a lot of pitch and storytelling. Because if you cannot talk to the market, you will not be able to sell to the market. So that's what we need to do at the earliest stage possible. Okay, maybe any questions about our first phase, or everything clear so far?
Looks clear.
Okay, great. Let's go to the phase 2. So at the end of the phase 1, they need to convince us that somebody on the market, some of these people that they have talked to, really finds their technology interesting, and they need to convince us that they have an idea of the first steps to take in that direction. And then we take those first steps and create a business plan out of them. We see what needs to be prototyped, right? Even if the technology has been prototyped per se, there are a lot of things that need to be prototyped. The interaction with the customers, maybe the interaction with suppliers, or a lot of other stakeholders that they have. They need to prototype maybe the user interfaces, the product, opposing to the technology, because those prototypes are not the same, and so on. So then we think about the details of the customer experience, about starting a company, right? Because usually at the start of our programs, they don't yet have a company, but now they're thinking about, okay, will we really start one, and which form of a company is best for us, how to create the contracts between us founders, that would be best. And then also where will we find the funds to do all of this. Networking, of course, this is the phase where we start to really push them towards as many people as possible, both funding wise, partnerships wise, etc. And then at the end of this process, we have a large demo day event where they, for the first time, for most of them, they present to the larger public what they are doing. And inside this process, of course, we need to also secure the tech transfer from the research institutions. So get a deal done with the research institution of how this IP will be transferred to the company. If there is a tech transfer, sometimes there is not, but usually there is. And then at the phase 3, so they have to convince us that they have this both funding potential and a business plan, and a relatively solid first iteration of a business plan. And then we can go into business development, branding, go-to-market strategy, sales, negotiations, product development, finance. So all of these things that are necessary to really get that company moving, right? To enter the stage of real market interactions, and real existing on the market. So and maybe just quickly, so this demo day of ours this year, we have for the first time expanded it into an even larger conference, which was called Liftoff, and it was held in Zagreb, July 2nd and 3rd. About 400 participants, a lot of VCs, about 90 startups were participating, about 30 VCs, founders present at that point, and of course research institutions, also industry representatives, etc. Next year as well, we will have it probably at a similar time of the year. So if you're interested into seeing both what we are doing and both what the wider ecosystem in Croatia is capable of, then this conference is probably a good place to start. Okay, so what is our track record, right? We were been doing this program more or less in this form for 3 years. We had also some previous years where we were more focused on the students and doing student programs, but these are programs that are now more focused on the faculty, on PhDs, postdocs, full-time professors. So we had 33 teams that were in this phase 2 of our program. Out of those 33, 25 have founded a company and have gathered about 2.5 million euros of pre-seed funding, either through grants or through VC investment. This number is probably larger now. We are continuously updating it, but usually 100,000 to 200,000 euros per company for this pre-seed funding. We have about 50 mentors and about 25 partnerships institutions that are working with us. These are some of the startups that have come out of the program. So as you can see, if you read out these descriptions, we are industry agnostic because we think at this point at least it's hard to specify what exactly would be the niches that Croatia is and should be the strongest in. So we are trying to give horizontal education to as many teams as possible. So for example, we have Nate's Design, which is a green biosolvent. We have Calfatech, which is an algorithm in X-ray diffraction analysis. We have Green Energy PAL, which is in electricity metering, Arkansite, which is in drone monitoring of critical infrastructure. So as you can see, Cyber Arrange down there in the left bottom, which is a cybersec tool. So there is different verticals, but what connects them all is that all of those companies are based on a deep tech research-based product. So just for you to maybe see a few examples in more detail, for example, Kalerad, which was mentioned on the last slide. So those two guys that you see in the pictures, they were faculty members of the Faculty of Electrical Engineering. One was a postdoc and one was a professor. They were solving safety issues in rally racing. One of them, the guy on the right, is a rally driver, so he had this experience for a number of years that there were some problems in the rally racing, and they decided to try to solve this issue. They've transferred the IP or a part of the IP from the Faculty of Electrical Engineering, and in their initial funding was a grant called Startup Spin-off of Young Researchers. But at their current status is they already have first contracts signed, commercial contracts with these rally racing organizations, and they have decided to bootstrap for now. So they did not take any venture capital money or any investment money because they feel they can develop with these contracts that they have gotten so far. And maybe another example, which is a bit different, so that you see like what's the scope of what we're doing. So Arkansite, which was called Toron Drone at the start, their initial status was they were 3 students together with 1 professor. Some of them were from Faculty of Electrical Engineering, some of them from the Faculty of Naval Architecture and Engineering. They were solving issues for drone operators. So again, a few of them were working as drone operators. They wanted to solve their own personal issues. IP, there was no tech transfer. IP was basically held in the work of those students in their master's thesis, and there was no IP held by the university, because students have if the students have done their research without capital equipment from the university, then what they did is basically theirs, not the university's. And their initial funding was came from a VC fund, so they've gotten 600K during the last during this year, start of this year, basically. What's important to say that they have pivoted, so they've started with building out drones as a hardware. Now they are a software company doing AI computer vision for drones, and they've changed the team. So these 4 people that you see here, the 2 in the middle are still the founding team, while the professor and the other student are not currently anymore involved. And now they are in pilots and their first sales. So it's important to see that building a startup is a highly dynamic thing. So both product pivot and the team pivots is what's usually happening if you are trying to build out this company. Okay, maybe any questions or comments at this point? Do you have maybe some that you want to pose? No, everything fine. Okay, feel free to write in the chat whatever you see fit in the meantime. So how do we do all this? as our funding is concerned, we are pooling mostly EU and national grants for our own funding. Also, we have some sponsorships from large companies and venture capital firms. Many of the startups experts that are participating in our mentoring networks are doing this as volunteers. And without their volunteer work, this would be almost impossible because they are putting in a lot more time than we can pay them, especially at market prices. And we have a lot of scientific and supporting partnerships, so both with research organizations and with other organizations that are working in a similar field. So who is this we? The team, here is Mattia, who is my co-founder of Nucleus. Me and him were the first two people to build this out. He is coordinating our efforts. He's kind of a CEO. I'm kind of a CTO, thinking about the methodologies and building out these startups. Mirta is the head of our marketing and PR. Tena is head of our event management and partnerships. Maria is head of our administration and office manager, and Matea is our junior project manager. We are also currently trying to employ another project manager/COO. So if you know a good person for that role, feel free to contact me. But our team is not, as I said, is not the entire group of people who are working on it. So we have a scientific committee, which is really important for us, that it's kind of evaluating the technological merit of these products. So we have 3 experts from Faculty of Electrical Engineering, and then we have 1 expert from each of the scientific partner institutions that we have. And we have an investment committee that's kind of helping us evaluate the business merit of these product teams. Representatives of Croatia's most active angels, investors, VCs, and corporates. So who are, this is like the scientific committee, like in the, I think it's the latest iteration. So from each of these faculties, scientific institutions in Croatia that we are working with. And this is our investment committee in the last iteration. So we have Isabel from Infobip, Damir from Photomat, Alan Sumina, who sold Nanobit a few years ago, and Luka Abrus, who exited with his company 5 also 3 or 4 years ago. Joško is a partner in the Sofinova Partners, which is the oldest European venture capital company based in France. And Anna is a board member in the European Innovation Council and also an angel investor with her own company. And at this point, maybe I would take a few minutes to talk about the difference between the horizontal and the vertical mentoring that we are doing. So as the horizontal mentoring is concerned, and maybe this is kind of connected also to the bond network and some things that you heard previously. So we have a lot of mentors that are available for a call here and there with all of our startups in the specific fields that they are interested in. So if somebody needs a fundraising support, we have a fundraising mentor. They will sit down with them for an hour and try to solve some specific issues that they have. And you can find on our website the list of all of these mentors who are available in this regard, right? So for short calls, for a short amount of time, not going really in depth with any of these startups. But then we also have an entrepreneur in residence program. Okay, so these are people who have decided that they want to spend more time with some specific startups in our program. So what we do there is we connect one-on-one, so one startup to one entrepreneur in residence, and we have a structure of usually 3 months that they work together, where this entrepreneur is working on a volunteer basis, but they still build out some KPIs that they want to achieve in these 3 months. And then if they achieve these KPIs, then some kind of a deeper remunerated relationship between this entrepreneur and this startup team is built out. Maybe this entrepreneur will become a C-level position in this startup, maybe a fractional CEO, CTO, COO, CFO. Maybe they will become a co-founder if it's such a good fit. Or maybe they will become just a board advisor but a board advisor who will also get some equity or get some pay in due time. So this is compared to the horizontal mentoring. This is a vertical mentoring where we are trying to really create one-on-one fits between startups and business experts. So when the teams exit our program, that they have somebody who is able to carry them on into the market when they lose our support. They never lose fully our support, but we cannot be with them day to day after this year of our program is done. And what we saw previously is that there is a large drop-off in their activity when we leave them be, quote unquote. So we need to find somebody who will push them on after this point. Not for all startups, of course, but for like on average. Just so you can see, so these scientific partnerships, supporting partnership that I've mentioned, so there is 16 research institutions in Croatia that are currently working with us. The supporting partnerships are different things, so both lawyers, design studios, of course, Haman Bikro Habor and similar institution, HRZZ, Ministry of Science, also World Bank, and a bunch of embassies. But for example, UK and US embassy are the ones that we are working with the most. And what was maybe a really an important point in our development was last year when we got 1.1 million euros from the Digit project and the Ministry of Science and the World Bank to really try to amp up these activities, employ more people that you saw on those previous slides, and really try to bring in more teams and really spruce up this methodology that we are doing. So we have about a year or more, a bit more than a year of this funding left, and we need to prove that these programs have impact and that they are sustainable. And then what was maybe like the most important in building these structures out as the ending of my presentation. So the correct mix of skills and character in the founding team. So I have a bit of a scientific background. I was doing a PhD at the Faculty of Science before I started moving into this direction. So I had an intimate view of what the researchers were struggling with, especially concerning the commercialization. We basically had no education in commercialization where I was there, and none of my colleagues had it as well. And I had a good idea of what the gaps were in that regard. While my co-founder Matija, he tried to build his own startup after he finished faculty. So he had 4 years of experience trying to bring a product to the market. It did not succeed in the end, but when he did not succeed with this startup, he decided he wanted to help other people who had maybe similar problems with him succeed where he failed, right? And then all of those other people that you saw that we brought in with time is, again, the proper mix of skills that are needed to build out these companies and to educate them properly. And not only us, right, but also our mentoring network. We take really long and good look at all of the people who apply to be mentors or entrepreneurs in residence in our program. And we are highly selective about who we are letting in and who we are not letting in. Again, speaking the language that the customers, in our case, the researchers mostly, and the students understand, and knowing their needs and wants. So all of those methodologies that we are applying to build out companies, we are applying for ourselves, right? So who are our customers? What do they need? Doing our market research, talking with as many research institutions, students, professors as we possibly can. We are trying to really use all of those methodologies to develop startups, to develop us as well. And gathering all the relevant stakeholders. So without the research institutions, there is no point in doing this. Without VCs, there is no point in doing this. Without the support of governmental organizations, there is no point in doing this. So really all of these stakeholders need to be on board and need to understand their roles. And we spend a lot of time talking about their roles to all of these stakeholders. by bringing them exactly what's happening on the ground, right? So this is how a startup is developed. This is what they need. Do you see yourself as being able to help them in this specific sense, right? We are giving them instructions what should and could be done, so it's easier for all these stakeholders to really make impact, right? Bottom up, to get bottom up information, not just top down strategies. And maybe to finish up, what's our vision in the future? So what we want to create in a phrase is functional ecosystem, because we are not there yet as a country, or even as a region, or even as EU in general. What does that mean to us? We want to really double down on this entrepreneur in residence type program and have business experts really join these technical personnel and create these teams that are really interdisciplinary and have experienced people who have already been founders and who have already created some products. We want to really emphasize connections with the more developed ecosystem, so we are bringing both US, UK, and EU mentors throughout the year, throughout our program, and even as entrepreneurs in residence. We want to support the community as much as possible. So again, as I said, use deploy all of these stakeholders in a way that the startups find them more relevant. Create as many events as possible, as many of these avenues of conversation between all these stakeholders, and also we are trying to build out a co-working space for our startups. And yeah, all of the stakeholders that we do not yet have in our network, we are trying to expand. Especially, we are looking to international stakeholders, so VCs, international VCs, our own diaspora, and companies, international companies, who are then able to become the pilot institutions for the products of our startup teams. Okay, maybe this is just a video of our last conference. You probably cannot hear the sound, but just to get an idea of what was happening at Liftoff. So as you can see here, we had Michael Scheffer, who was president of the EIC board. We had representatives of all of. We have Joshko, who I mentioned, from Sofinova. Here is Anna from the EIC as well. About 40 VCs, EIB representative, EIF representatives, and we really try to bring them all together at this event, both to see the startups and to talk amongst each other. Of course, we had the industry representatives as well. So Docking, Rimac, Orca, High Tech Products were there. This is Anna from European Investment Bank. We had the research institutions presenting some of their own findings that have not yet entered the market, but might be a good fit for the market. So yeah, maybe I'll stop it here. You can see it on YouTube. Just write in Nucleus Liftoff and you can see this after movie if you are interested. Okay, that's it. Thanks. So if there are any more questions, feel free to write them or raise a hand and ask them.
Thank you for this really excellent presentation. It's an excellent overview of facts. It really gives the insight into inner workings of such a mature organization. I was really positively surprised by how sophisticated your organization is, and it's obviously a result of meticulous analysis too, right? Similar to your opening question, it's a kind of, maybe I'm wrong, but it looks like it's a result of a scientific process itself.
In a sense, yeah. I've
That,
maybe left science, but the science did not leave me.
yes, and I think this is a great testament in favor of a scientific approach as opposed to some other approaches to
Agreed.
innovation and organizing innovation. And it's obvious that your organization has a mature and deep understanding of innovation. And it seems that organization is built purposefully fit for innovation processes. Fascinating. I wanted to ask you about the beginnings of Nucleus, because it seems that your organization reached this level of organizational maturity in a relative short time. How did you do it? Can we know something about this? Is it like learning by doing? Did you, I'm sorry to use this word, copy something from outside? Were you lucky? Did you have a lot of experience, or did you have external help? If you could.
So yeah, I would say it was a lot of learning by doing.
Okay.
And I would say the most important part was when we were brainstorming about all of this at the initial stages, we tried to include a lot of these ex-founders and the people who have already exited their companies. So even though we, Mattia and me, when we started, were not experienced in venture building per se, we really tried to bring in people who were willing to mentor us from the day one. And we created some relationship with a lot of our mentors, which are really close, which means that we can call them up as well for our problems, not the problems of our startups as well. There were a lot of programs that we were thinking about, looking, seeing, like the best practices example. For example, for this entrepreneur in residence part of our program and such, we were really taking a lot of experience from University of Pennsylvania in the US. Where we created a really good relationship with a person who was leading their UPenn Innovation Center, and he basically stayed with us for several hours, several brainstorming sessions, and really laid out like what they were doing and what the differences are between our ecosystems and what we needed to adapt maybe and what would not work here as well as would have worked in the US. So we did have a lot of help from people in telling us what they have tried already, but then quick iterations. So we were really trying to do this as a startup. So you try a workshop, you get a feedback immediately from the teams, you get a feedback, you build out the workshop together with your mentor. So it's not that we just say, okay, you are expert in blah, blah, and do a workshop for us. No, I'm sitting usually with the mentor and telling them, okay, but yeah, I know that you've given a presentation for maybe a soft tech startup and that you maybe know how to do a B2B SaaS product, but these are deep tech companies, so this will not work because we have been talking to our researchers, so they are not able to use these things. Let's try to adapt this methodology. And so we do an iteration of this presentation that we get the feedback immediately from our researchers, and then if it doesn't work, we don't do this the same workshop again. And we've been doing this iterating for years, and now we have a feeling that there is always space for improvement, but I would say 90% of our methodology is probably set out in stone at this point in time.
Thank you. It sounds like a result of empirical approach. It's an excellent thing.
Yeah, as much as possible, right? Because startups are really agile and a lot of things are changing, but we are trying to be focused on the data that we have and not just act on hunches about what we think that might work or might not work.
Thank you very much. I don't know if you will agree with me, but I think important takeaway from this is that solid data, verifiable methodologies, and persistent work are path to organization as mature as yours.
Yeah.
And very often we see in the field that innovation is a victim to trends, to catchwords, not deep enough understanding of concepts of culture, psychology, of innovation and market and so on.
Agreed. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Any more questions maybe or not?
Thank you, Danny. If there are any questions, we will forward it to you.
Yeah, you can also find me on LinkedIn. I'm pretty active there, so you can add me and send me a message. I will answer probably inside of a few days. And we are, again, as I said, open to collaboration and really would try to include as many researchers from Croatia as possible into our programs. We already had researchers who are not from Zagreb participating in our program, so that's not a problem if you are not from Zagreb. And again, any other type of collaboration that you see as possible, feel free to contact me.
Are you open regionally too to collaborations with across the borders?
Yeah. We are like in a month we are going to Czech Republic. We have an organization there which we are partnering with. We are bringing 10 of our startups there, and they have brought some of their startups to our Liftoff conference as well. So we are very happy to do these exchanges. And yeah, if anybody is from the region has maybe a similar program or maybe they are doing some investing in Croatia or whatever, feel free to contact us.
That's what Europe is about.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for the invitation.
Željka, we cannot hear you. Maybe the microphone.
What about now? Okay. I don't know, the microphone was on. Okay, you hear me now. Okay. Okay, our next topic is the Spark story, the history and concept behind a successful new service for Citria, presented by, sorry for the mispronunciation, Gal Kormendi, our colleague from Central Transdanubial Regional Innovation Agency from Hungary. Gal, if you're ready.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, let me start. And let me try and share the screen. Okay.
Yes, we see it. Okay.
Lovely. So let's prepare for to scale back a bit. This story that I'm about to tell is definitely not the size of what we've just heard from Nucleus. In fact, in some senses, it's quite the opposite. We have actually been scaling back some of our concepts just for a direct effectiveness. So this is what I'm going to talk about. One first part is going to be about the idea of this particular service, then how we developed it, what's the process there, and then I'm going to provide you with the actual history of the service so far, so that right after the break, my colleague Yvette can take up the baton and continue with the particulars of the last iteration that we've done. So this is going to come a story that's going to come in two parts. let me just go. Okay, so first let's start with a bit of history. CITRIA, as in Central Trans-Danubian Regional Innovation Agency, has been around for 20 years. And while our kind of main activities are related to knowledge transfer from and into Europe via international cooperations, and often we transfer the ideas to our network partners. So we are acting as a kind of a knowledge middleman, but nevertheless, we've operated an incubator for years, and we've done quite a bit of mentoring, startup support, and acceleration on our terms as well. However, these services have never manifested in a stable and in kind of a stable service that's opening out and can be scaled up, or at least can be provided in a way that makes actual ripples. So while we've been considered as experts and been invited quite a bit to provide these types of mentoring, consultation, etc., in other accelerators and startup developers, and we do have quite a wide network of experts, VCs, and SMEs as well. But still, at the current time, we don't have, or didn't have up until last year, a sustainable service for the development of SMEs and startups. And then the Food Scale-Up project came along, which was an Horizon 2020 project. One of our key areas of activities is the digitalization of the food industry, and this was a good fit up our alley. This project was about scaling up food startups and food SMEs around Europe. The project itself was based on kind of a two-stage approach that on the one hand, we had an extensive mapping of the possibilities and the available services around our respective countries. And of course, we did a pilot project, which was a bit more complicated than most pilot projects go. And this was where we really got to put together this new idea that turned into Spark. So for a change of service design, we did a full circle of co-creation. That means that we took the time and built out a stakeholder network of 360 degrees, including SMEs, accelerators, VCs, experts, accelerator alumni in the different areas of the country, both successful and unsuccessful. And we did quite a thorough, not just brainstorming, but the collecting of experiences and use cases of what is actually missing from what is there and what is actually missing for them from the Hungarian business development ecosystem. And the interesting part was I'm going to go more in depth into the different learnings from this process. So I'll just go get around the process this time, because then when we dug up these new ideas and verified them with all the different stakeholders, we had them ranked, we had them pinpointed and talked about quite a bit. Then we shared this in the European, in the wider European partnership, and had more developed regions come in and mentor us and connect with the stakeholders, with our stakeholder circle, to advise in the development of this new service. So what? And then we, at every step of the stage, fed back the status to our stakeholders, which actually meant that they had quite a bit of revelation that when apparently co-creation is just used in name in most of the Hungarian ecosystem, it turns out that it looks like that in most cases the users and the stakeholders are just pinged for information and then left out of the circle. Now that we kept on feeding back the information and kept on fine-tuning the design all through the process, and even involved whoever we could in the first iteration of the realized project, we did get the extra oomph and extra commitment from our stakeholders. Therefore, by and large, even by itself, this co-creation process was for us a big success, and was for us a nice step towards building a much tighter community within the food industry, and within the food industry entrepreneurial development. So let's go through the concepts taken from the process. First of all, this is a slide that you might have seen from me if you attended the February training. The basic dilemma is that business development and SME development usually does have two complementary but conflicting approaches: effectiveness and efficiency. While efficiency is something that focuses on scalability and process optimization and the implementation of the service as best as you can, there's also effectiveness, which is focusing on getting results out of the service. And while efficiency, with its Pareto mechanisms, does work for like 80% of the community to some degree, when looking for effectiveness and tailoring services, it does turn out that even those 80% could use additional personalized attention and help. And it also means that while effectiveness and this personalized approach is by nature much more difficult to scale, also by nature it is much more in demand, and it can provide very, very good and very strong results, even with those that didn't or not necessarily had the potential for scaling up or for really growing and accelerating. So some of the concepts that were quite strong when we took the did the co-creation process. The first was targeting, meaning that both actually, or rather all around the 360 degrees, everyone was really interested in more personalized services. The enterprises, most definitely, they were the most vocal about wanting to see opportunities for personal questions, opportunities for personal development, and not just generalized knowledge from these services. And actually, quite soon, all the other stakeholders came on board and doubled down on the notion that knowing what a specific SME, not even a startup, needs is key to its effective or successful development. And this is the point that I want also to make, that the food industry is quite sparse in startups. It's not the sexy tech-related sector. Therefore, we had to compromise that this time we are actually not going to focus on those accelerated or to be accelerated startups, but much more on the SMEs that could have hidden potential, but they probably haven't realized. This is a much wider set of targets, and they do need to be familiarized with a lot of the concepts that we could offer. The second point was that once again, this came from all around the board, and it actually finished the highest in the ranking, that we need to provide trust and build trust in any service. Even with the accelerators and even with the incubators, the feedback was that with these conveyor belt and large group mechanisms, trust is often not built, and therefore personal commitments are not built within the entrepreneurs, and therefore trust and commitment needs to be slowly and painstakingly developed in order for the SME to actually implement whatever solution they come to internalize from the project. Trust is a difficult issue, of course, and it was, I think, one of the trickiest part in trying to code this into a service, especially into a service with quite a short time frame, because less so from the experts and the VCs, but more so from the companies. Remember, we are not talking about startups. We are talking about SMEs that have been around for at least a couple of years. They didn't want any consultation plans or development ideas that took a year. They wanted a solution for their problem now. And therefore, what they really want is to get from their current step to the next. What they really want is to be able to step over their obstacle that they are facing and be more comfortable in their setting and in their operation. Therefore, we had to decide not to do this pilot in a complete long-term or even half a year process, but for at least 2 to 3, for at maximum 2 to 3 months. Therefore, this resulted in a sprint-like service, which I will come back to. Yet another point that came out quite strongly from all the interviews and all the co-creation that we made was that even the enterprises had to admit that while they thought they knew what they were looking for, often they didn't. And therefore, any service which hoped to go through and build a lasting result had to go through quite an intensive definition phase. In other words, a bit of coaching that helped the beneficiary or the SME to come to terms with what their real issues are and how to go about pinpointing those issues, outlining and ranking their needs and their possible development areas. That's something that came from the experts and the other accelerators within the process, and it was really interesting seeing the enterprises come to terms with the fact that yes, actually they don't really know what they need, and they need to learn about themselves, and they need to internalize the whole development idea. Then, of course, this is something that I've mentioned before, that a tangible step forward is needed in the process. That this is not knowledge transfer. This is not just a process of providing the means to do something. Within this 2 to 3 months, there needs to be something that helps the enterprise, that helps the SME actually take that next step and actually overcome their obstacle so that they can start working on the next one by the end of the process. So this results in such a level of hands down practical development that is very rare, at least in the Hungarian development ecosystem. And this tangible step and this helping them take the next step in their development what both looks like from the outside and from the inside as well as something crucial in unlocking a lot of hidden potential in SMEs. A lot of the SMEs are well within their comfort zone, or they are geared more towards survival than growth. This feeling of being comfortable with taking the next step and being able to celebrate that success and kind of taste growth in a way did unlock an approach and in many of the of our beneficiaries or SMEs that wasn't there before. Suddenly they got a taste of what it is to be successful and what it is to be comfortable with taking these steps. Of course, a network is also needed, and I don't think it's a surprise to anyone that SMEs usually don't have sufficient networks for them to operate. A lot of them are actually just working within their existing network to keep up their performance at a level that is just enough to stay afloat, and it is very difficult for them to take those next steps. Building a living network and a living alumni out of these SMEs was something that they really asked us, and then they really started working on by themselves. This was once again something that they became comfortable with, and because they got to experience it in a kind of safe environment. So these were the points that we got out of those interviews and those co-creation process bits, and they already draw quite the shape that we are going to produce, and you are going to see in later in the next presentation. However, Citria has also added some values to the mix, which might not have been asked for, but when we floated them, they were quite keenly latched onto by the stakeholders, by the stakeholder group. One point is relevance, not just so helping to tailor that solution is not just identifying the problem and targeting the exact user's needs, but also providing them with current and easy to do actions. So helping them with something that actually bring them up onto the level into the 21st century, into the second decade of the 21st century, at least, if not the third, from a business standpoint. Many of them realize this way that they've been operating in the 20th, and taking this mental leap of 30 years is much more important, and enabling them of taking this leap of 30 years turns out to be much more important than any kind of knowledge or solution that we can provide, so that they feel that they are relevant. So not just the solution that is relevant for them and tailored for them, but that they become relevant in 2025. Well, 2024, as that was the first iteration of the service, but you get the idea. Ownership. The client is the one that owns the problem. They have to live with it. Therefore, it was quite important for us to take this coaching attitude to everything and help the beneficiaries. And actually, this was help the beneficiaries own their problems and own their solutions, so that we avoid prescribing something that they do not feel completely their own and will deviate from as soon as we are not there. And actually, this was a point that that was very interesting from the expert side, because this coaching mentality is often not there in the expert community. And I mean, in a way, mentors kind of consider themselves coaches often, but they forget to ask questions. In some of the best experts that we've worked with could be focusing on the solutions that they see and offer their extra knowledge, take it or leave it. And this was a point where we actually had to educate the trainers as well, and kind of making this distinction quite strongly between coaching and mentoring, what is included in one and the other, and how to work the two together or in tandem. So that was an interesting bit of education for our experts as well. Actionability is something that I've already mentioned, because everything is coming full circle now. Everything is related to another. So that deep practicality that was requested and needed also had a very actionable side, that everything that we offered had to be tested on the field as soon as it was there. So it was the whole process had to be the solution process for the SME, where we were actually just holding their hands and following them along and guiding them, and they were testing, trying, and implementing everything through the whole go and through the whole time. And of course, drive, motivation, interact, an interactive approach, keeping up, giving a perspective to the SME. Once again, this latches back onto the idea that taking the next step is the most important, but only if you are then prepared to take the next step again. And this kind of motivation, this kind of behavior influencing motivation, so drive enough to come out of the shell, was also something that we had to instill within these services. And then there are two more aspects: resilience and sustainability, which are now buzzwords of these years and have come to previously unseen importance after the COVID pandemic. But these are something that are core parts of Citria's mission, and these are some things that we wanted to instill in all of our SMEs in a much more personalized and much deeper level, or at a much deeper level than they used to. To find that these two concepts are key to any kind of development in these years, and it's not something that is basically happens to someone else. Therefore, the Spark Business Sprint happened. This was the design that we put down. This was the design that we actually built out, and this 8 steps are what we planned into the 3 months. Starting with a very targeted call in which both the sector and the type of problem faced by the applicants is defined, so that a good match of experts can be found in a short time that are able to actually provide that level of targeting and that level of personalization needed for this to actually work. We did selection interviews with everyone, and we did it in a way that one of our core beliefs is that those who apply, even if they don't get selected, do have a drive to go on, so they deserve value for their effort. And therefore, with the application and selection process, we provided them feedback, a first round of feedback to everyone, even those not selected, to go on, and offered them services which might not be part of this and might not be free, or for like we did this particular service was provided free for the beneficiaries, or at least for the de minimis part. But we could offer them ideas of experts to turn to and hire if they really want to solve their own projects. And that was something that we got quite good feedback into, so that this not throwing anyone away in a way. Then there is definitely need a group identity, because we wanted to provide a network at the end. This was a joint workshop where everyone got to meet everyone, and even all the experts provided their ideas there, so that whenever the matches are made, then that would be an easy match for everyone. Then the sprint itself comes in 2 phases, a definition phase and a development phase. The definition phase, of course, is focusing on pinpointing the problem and internalizing the issues for the beneficiaries. And the development phase is sitting down one-on-one with the beneficiaries and working on their issues from the point where they got through the definition. It is quite an important point that we did focus and did insert a transition phase between the two, where the experts of the definition phase and of the development phase are both in the room, working with the beneficiary for a time, so that the transition between phases becomes seamless and as easy as possible for the beneficiaries. And then there is definitely a final workshop in which experiences are shared and actual future cooperations are to be founded, and this just then leads into the follow-up and the community building and maintenance. So this is the idea of the Spark. This is what we crammed into a 3 months process. And let me now talk you through, quite short, hopefully, about how this started out and where it is now and where we see it going. So the first Spark, which was this pilot action within the Food Scale-Up project, focused on the food industry and fundraising. This was the point where we realized that we had to give up working with startups and scale-ups, because there just aren't any available within the network and within the field at this point, and on that short notice. So we started working with SMEs and started focusing on unlocking the development potential of SMEs. Then we did an open call and recruited from the whole country. This one was an interesting and actually quite a tricky process for us. We ourselves had to go way out of our comfort zone with this, because we never had to do something like this before. So this was very much learning by doing. Then, in this first iteration, the definition phase was one-on-one coaching for all the beneficiaries, for all the SMEs. Business coaches had them work out their problem and had them map their actual needs for the next 3 months, and had them map what they hope to achieve, and had them bring it to a level where the mentor can take over. The second phase, was this time taken up by mentoring. Once again, one-on-one in most cases, and then we finished with an experience sharing workshop. So this was quite an interesting hourglass-shaped process. Like at the beginning and at the end, we had the whole wide community working together, while in the middle it was narrowed down to the one-on-one processes, focusing very much on the work of the tailored solution and the tangible step of the SME we were working with. Now, Spark 2, which Yvette will be talking about a lot, I'm just bringing up some of the changes that we played with. On the first point, we switched to a bit of a regional development approach, because we decided to land on the creative industries and CCI, which is very fragmented, and therefore we decided to have an additional territorial or rather small regional aspect as well. So we started working with leader action groups who managed to bring together the creatives within their region, within their territory. So this actually resulted in a focused call with a middleman. So this enabled us to contact the targeted middleman, who from within their own networks were able to handpick those that they wanted to work with and they wanted to develop the most. And this also resulted in a two-tier operation for this iteration, because while on the one hand we were working with all these creative enterprises from these leader action groups, we were also enabling the leader action groups to be more coherent and take the next step in their legitimacy and in their competence. In this time, we switched the definition phase to workshops to try and experiment with how the coaching part, the personalization of the coaching, and the community of the workshops relate, and where we can find the sweet middle ground, so that we could still have everyone own their issues, but at the same time they got used to working with the others. This was quite a lucky change for this call, since this fit well for the local action enterprises working together for their regional goals as well. And therefore we switched the coaching bit, so added a bit of coaching to the mentoring or to the development phase. So these mentors had to do kind of double duty, but with a groundwork laid down all through the workshops. And since the trust was built, because all the mentors, all the coaches were present and were involved in the workshops, they were easy to transfer to the companies and the enterprises. So what's for the future? We do have a bunch of ideas. We are still working on getting the exact process of the transition and follow-up phases. We do want to have a better niche detection algorithm, if you wish, because it does seem that, well, it's kind of trivial that not all sectors are equal, and therefore we need to find those that where we can unlock potentials. One idea that we are playing with since the very beginning is the inclusion of a study visit. somewhere in the process, having a joint experience of a good practice from within the country is something that we see as a very good step toward toward a personalized experience of being able to grow and develop. So that is something that we are trying to work into the process. But as it is quite crammed as it is, that's something that we are still looking into. And of course, showcasing the success stories from our previous iterations is also something that we are working on, but that's luckily quite a sweet burden, as those success stories are more than happy to share their experiences. And that's it. That's the point where I want to transition into giving it up to Yvette just after the break. If you have any questions, I am here to answer them.
Also in the chat, if anyone would like to add a question. Okay, I personally have some observations about this, and I understand why you started your lecture by saying you did the opposite from Nucleus. They are dealing with highly sophisticated both individual, social, and organizational concepts, and they're pulling out the best out of it. And you are dealing with the opposite. You're dealing with the groundwork of innovation and entrepreneurship, if I understood correctly.
Indeed.
And I feel this is important thing to emphasize with this topic today, that we somehow, I don't know, Željka, if we wanted this or not, but we touched the two extremes, which is very good. And I'm glad that they came up so close to each other.
Yes.
And policies and strategies and BSOs rarely address or let alone deal with the basis of human innovation and entrepreneurship. There is this pertaining myth that entrepreneur is one type of person, and if you can either be that or not be that, despite massive evidence in the opposite for the last 50 years.
Indeed.
Being collected. We are victims here of a folklore, let's say, a narrative that doesn't have a base, right? And so the concepts you extracted, improving targeting for people, trust, time frame, definition, what was there, stepping forward, building a community. Those are underlying basis of a culture of entrepreneurship and innovation, right? So, and additionally, you dealt with food industry, which in my opinion, next to farming or agriculture industry and construction industry are the hardest nuts to
Oh yes. Oh yes.
So I admire your approach, and definitely we would like to get more information on this. You have also employed empirical approaches. We can see from Spark 1, Spark 2, and plans for Spark 3. You are streamlining this thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't have a question. I'm fascinated with your work, because you're working on the literal boundary of innovation. Where can things happen or not? And it's a huge thing. And do you have some cases or examples that can show us that you can show us about Spark's success so far? I'm aware that it might be a low-level successes, or maybe not qualitative not quantitative in a financial sense or something. But what did you pull out as an organization?
Well, some of this is I'm trying not to steal Yvette's thunder, because some of that is going to is in her presentation. But from the first round, we did have one participant that at the end of the process, while they were actually willing to take a step outside Hungary and visit a startup fair in the Netherlands, and they actually got their toes into the startup world. So what we are trying to do here, I know it's a lot of shoveling, but
Yes.
it's really I try to frame it this way, that it is unlocking the innovation and development potential in a culture that is not by definition geared towards that.
Yes.
And this requires quite a lot of easing out of the comfort zone, and we did have some companies that actually were for the first time in their lives willing to enter into European projects and actually apply for funds, because that is not just for their next, I don't know, cargo lift or something, but for transitioning into organizational development, transitioning into an innovation mindset was really interesting to see. And there are some talks that are one of the venture capitalists experts on the project is still monitoring a couple of the participants for possible investment. So these were, for those involved in the process, quite huge steps. They were actually stepping over their shadows. I know this is a boutique service. This cannot really be scaled up in a way. But on the other hand, in both iterations, it turned out that as long as the enterprise realizes that they have a problem and want to solve it and not just live with it, that for me personally, that was an interesting point, that is actually enough to show that there is potential to be unlocked.
Yes. Yeah. The stepping out of its own shell of an entity, right?
Yeah.
And stop repeating the mantras that are kind of self-fulfilling.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And I know your sample, and by the way, the name Spark is such a perfect name for what you're doing. So maybe the sample is still small, but do you feel also that work for you is easing up because now there are evidences, there are witnesses who can witness that you change something in them? So
definitely. On the one hand, we are making our lives harder by picking a new sector in each iteration, but still the testimonies are there. So I do think that Sparks 3 and 4 and 5 and etc. Is on the one hand something that we are willing to do because we see that this can be done and should be done. It is something missing from the palette of services, and it's definitely something that is needed and looked for by our target group as well.
Thank you. Very inspiring.
Thank you very much.
Any other comments, questions? Okay, if we don't have any comments, thank you so much, Gal, for this great presentation. Thank you for giving us all these insights. Very interesting, very concrete. We will continue at exactly 1 p.m. as scheduled, after what will be over an hour break. Thank you so much, lecturers. Thank you so much, everybody, and see you back at 1 p.m. Bye.
Yeah,